Hi, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. It's Sunday, the first Sunday of 2021. Yay! No more 2020. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday season. You're getting ready to start your year off. I don't know if you do resolutions. I don't. I think resolutions are like the worst thing ever. Hang on, I need to change the brightness on my screen. I think they're just set you up to be let down. Maybe I'm like terrible, but I instead pick arbitrary days to start things and just start when I decide to start and forget about it the other ways. So, hi, new chapter. So I don't know. There was some recording that just came out with Trump and somebody in Georgia, and I didn't. I just listened to the recording, and when I listened to the recording, I heard there's going to be a lot more coming out, like more tapes being, or more recordings being divulged, and this is just a tip of the iceberg. So let's wait and see. I have a good feeling about Georgia. I have a good feeling about the Democrats in Georgia and Ossoff and Warnock being elected. So let's hope I'm right. Not much of a political predictor, so just a feeling. So I hope everybody's well. We're preparing because we're getting a little bunny, and I'm excited for that. So we'll see what happens, and maybe I'll bring her on and show you her when we get her. So we want to start with Happy New Year, everybody that's here, and just thank you so much for being here and supporting. I don't know if you guys read the emails I send out, if you're subscribed to my site, but we raised from September until last Sunday, we raised enough for me to donate $1,192.60. And that makes I think a huge impact. So I'd like to keep doing that. I want to do 100% today, and then I'm going to move back to 30%. So let's see if we can do more for 2021 than we did in 2020. Danny, I did get yours. You know what? Hang on, let me just look at something because I know I saw it and I actually got an answer to yours right away when I saw something, but I have to remember. Oh, that's what it was. Oh, that's weird. How did I not write your name down? I got it and I knew I saw it. So let me. KK, Danny's should be after Linda Drost and before Shaheen. So when you rewrite, sorry about that. That was an oversight, but I did read it and I did already get an answer for that. So, so all of you helped make that happen. There's no way I could have done that donation without you. That's about it. I don't have anything. I wanted to do the talk last week and I ended up having a whole bunch of readings and I just couldn't carve out enough time to get on here and kind of chat with y'all. So we'll look at it. We'll look at this week where I want to start this year. I'd like to more regularly come on and do more spiritual chats. I always say that, right? But it's really hard with 3 kids and doing homeschooling, not homeschooling, virtual schooling. It's been a struggle and I'm hoping it gets better. And we're in it through the end of the school year. I'm not sending my kids back until everybody's got a vaccine. Call me, whatever. Okay. So let's get started. Meg, I received yours. You're good to go. Okay. So Dan, I don't know if you have a question tonight. If you're here, hello, KK. Thank you as always for being so wonderful. Dan, Mallory, Devry, you have 2 questions. Starry Sky. No, thank you, Dan, for always being supportive. So if anybody wants to start, let's go. I realized I forgot to put my rings on. I did do a seance. A friend of mine who has a channel, Georgia. I'll link it below after we're done. She has a channel and she does readings on Saturdays. And she also gives to charity. Um, she asked me to be a part of doing a seance, like a Zoom seance. Um, and it was really cool. I have to say, it was interesting because I didn't get the memo that it was really supposed to be mostly mediumship. And so it kind of tested me because I always worry, like, I always kind of worry somebody's not going to come through, or I'm not going to get a family member. I'm going to only get, and I got a lot. And I got one was just so fantastic. And this poor woman, her mother sat to her left side and her father sat to her right side. And I saw them sit down. And what was super cool about it was then, like, probably like 3 minutes after I saw him sit down, she went and got it. She got up. I thought, well, that's interesting. And she put a blanket on. And I was telling her, I was like, oh, they sat down and then you went and put a blanket on. So, and I said, you felt chilled? She said, yeah. And that's, sometimes a sign for some people that their family members are around, that they feel a little bit cooler. And I gave her this really beautiful message from her mother, because this poor woman had to make the decision to take her mother off life support. And it was so accurate and it was so cool the way she validated everything that I said. But it was allowed her to find relief in knowing that her mom was okay. And because even though her mother had a DNR, they revived her, which is like, so they had her intubated, but she was alert, and she said, no, well, she has a DNR. I need to, because the doctor wanted to make a decision, pull it. In the mother's eyes, she said, my mother's eyes went really big. And I felt so guilty, but the mother waited 10 days to cross. She didn't go right away. And I said, if they extubate you, and if she really needed that to be alive, she would have passed right away, within a few hours. So the fact that she lasted another 10 days, I said, she went on her own terms. So you need to, like, be done with feeling like the guilt that you somehow stopped and ended your mother's life. So it was a really beautiful gift and a beautiful way for her to leave 2020 and leave behind any guilt and feelings of that she made a decision that maybe her mother didn't end up wanting. So it was really cool, though. It was very cool. All of the family members that came through. Okay, sorry, I'm rambling, but I just thought it was such a cool experience. Hi, Dina. What was on CNN tonight? Tell me. Do tell. I tend not to watch the news, to be very honest with you. I'll read stuff. Because mostly energetically, I want to rip my hair out. It's just a lot energetically. I know there's like plenty of psychics that like dig on that. Oh, I mentioned that at the very beginning, and I said that when I listened to it, because I listened to the recording that the Washington Post did, and first of all, okay, wait, I have to talk about this and then we'll get to the questions. I swear to God. Okay. So first of all, I said that I thought that this was like, I got from my guides that this was just like the beginning, and that's the tip of the iceberg, and more recordings to be released. But it was really interesting listening to him, having come from like growing up with really abusive people who do a lot of manipulation, and seeing the tactics and the threats and then the ways of trying to plant the ideas like, oh, well, this is what happened, right? He's such a scumbag. Anyway, but it's the tip of the iceberg. But it was really interesting to watch that and know what it is to be. I liked that the gentlemen on the other side obviously were like, no, it's not, if there's no fraud, there's no evidence of fraud. But it's interesting when you're on the other side, because obviously he's had enough people that he's been able to manipulate. When you get scared or worried, like, oh, what if, it's illegal, and you start to worry when you're on that side of maybe you're doing something that's wrong. So very interesting. He's a scumbag. That's all. All right. Okay. Miriam, you can go ahead. I'll check in a few minutes. I'll get through some questions because there's 12 people ahead of you, and a couple of them have a couple questions. KK, yes, you can add yourself to the list. And if for some reason we're going really long and you want a break, I'll just answer your question off the screen. Okay, so enough now. I promise, done rambling. Mallory, any validations from or messages this week? So it's not really about this week. Um, Wait, hold on. Let me just. Oh, so Tony came through, and it feels like he said, "I love her more than anything," and not. I mean, it's different with a romantic love versus your children, obviously. Um, but I feel like you've been crying an awful lot, especially the last 2 weeks. And there's sort of like this where you go between obviously missing him, but then sort of like being ready to move on and then feeling guilty for being ready to move on and sort of struggling with that. And he said, it's okay. It's okay to move on. It's okay to move through. You shouldn't have to, feel like this. He doesn't want you to feel like this. He wants you to be okay and to know that you don't have to feel guilty about being ready to move on. He sort of has been waiting for you to do this and wanting you to do this. And he said, you're too beautiful and you have too much to offer the world to stay wrapped up in all of this. Does that make sense? Or can you validate the okay. I just want to write a note down because at first it was really weird. I got a message for KK at first, and that's why I was like, wait a minute. Hi, Lily. Happy New Year. Okay. So don't feel guilty. That's not where he wants you to be. He doesn't want you to feel like it's like such a weird, it's like really missing and really sad, and then also being like, okay, and I'm ready to move on, and then feeling guilty about that. And that's got to be really hard to go through. Just want to write a note about you, KK, real quick. Okay, Devry, you have 2, Starry Sky 2, Emily Martin's 2. Oh my God, you guys, seriously, my bunny is going to be so cute. I can't wait to get her. I can't wait to get her. She's a Holland Lop. And she's like, we'll pick her up. I haven't told my kids. Hopefully they don't watch this when they watch this. January 22nd or that weekend about. And she's so cute. So cute. But bunnies are a lot of work. So we'll see. And they eat like a ton of hay. I do Venmo if you want. This is my Venmo. And then 6211 are the last 4 digits if it asks you for that. I hope they don't bark. I mean, I like dogs. I really like dogs, but I don't know. I'm not ready for a dog yet. I haven't had a dog in 10 years, and I'm not ready for a dog just yet. Okay. So I'm hoping that it'll be, the girls wanted something other than hermit crabs and fish, and I don't want a cat. What's ironic is I didn't want a cat because I don't want to deal with litter boxes, and I'm going to have a litter box with a bunny. But bunny litter is smells way better, and it's like compostable. So I can literally not, I don't think I'm going to do this, but I might, who knows if my plants really need it, but you can literally throw it in the flower beds and like the poop fertilizes the ground and all of that. And so, yeah. And that litter doesn't, if you change it more often and more frequently, so it's not stinky like kitty litter. Okay, Christy, you can do, and then I'll check these in a minute. Any good news coming soon on the work front? I'm tired literally of this job, and also any to the life partner. I'm lonely. Okay. I'm not going to try to chastise you or chide you about this, but this is really, really important for anybody who's lonely. If you aren't comfortable on your own, there is no one outside of you who will ever fulfill that. Initially, they might, but then that you can be in a relationship and be completely lonely too. So get really comfortable being alone and really happy and content being alone. When you're happy and content, it doesn't mean I don't want more. It just means I'm actually happy and content where I'm at. Then the rest sort of falls into place. I think it's Buddhism that says, find peace within and everything falls into place outside, not trying to make everything fall into place outside and finding peace within. That said, I will answer your questions. Okay.
It's still like, oh, this is so, I'm sorry, because I know this is annoying coming like because I've been in the position of getting the readings and be like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? And it literally will happen. The job and everything else in the movement for the job. And first of all, this is like a stepping stone. Part of it is to really, really have an appreciation. I don't know if there's something about, it's either March or 3 months, because I'm getting a 3 and I don't feel like it's as soon as 3 weeks where there's a shift in the job stuff. And it's either that you're staying where you are, but you're moving positions or moving departments or something like that, or it's something actually not too far off from what you're doing, but it's just becomes a better, energetically better environment. But they're sort of wanting to remind you to like sort of find your Zen. If you can't do, like if doing the manifesting is really, really hard, I've really enjoyed doing that, listening to affirmations lately. And I'm going to say Roxy Talks because I like hers for whatever reason. I like the way she kind of says things, and like she's got them all on her YouTube channel, and you don't feel like she's always trying to sell you something else. Some of the people, you just feel like, stop trying to sell me things. So she's got some really lovely affirmations, and sometimes it's just like recalculating that things are possible. So there's ones on success, there's ones on self-worth, and I think that those would be really, really beneficial for you. I've actually come into some really huge awarenesses lately. I think because I'm really focusing on manifesting and really focusing on doing it in a different way. And they call it your mental diet, right? So everything that you're sort of surrounding yourself with. And like realizing a situation, I don't want to, without going into too much detail or throwing anybody in my personal life under the bus, but something was said to me that was pretty nasty under the guise of being a joke. And it was cruel. It wasn't funny. It was like, and I kind of called the person out at the point, but I was angry about it still. And so I sort of like, and immediately realized that how I had manifested it wasn't that I wanted someone to be terrible to me. It was actually that I was sort of, for a while in one particular area of my life, not having the best inner dialogue and not speaking kindly to myself and not really building myself up. I was sort of, beating myself up a lot. So I realized that I had sort of invited that in. Now, I have zero desire to sit and try and get an apology from this person. I have zero desire to try and get them to change, because whatever, that's not really about that. But my idea was to look at what am I doing that I can help within me, that I can change within me, because to me that's way easier, even to get over mentally. So it just feels like really, really to help yourself. So again, with the job, I felt not too far off, but I feel like doing these affirmations will really help you, because I know you're feeling stuck with actually manifesting. So you have somebody writing this stuff out for you. And if you listen, so what I do is I listen to them, I write them down, and I listen to them again, and I read them as I'm writing them, and I go through them slowly. I mean, like, it's like super weird and methodical, but it works. And eventually you shift your mindset, and you realize, like, yeah, I am a good person. And yeah, but people do like being around me, because everything is a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if you decide that people don't like to be around you, then they don't like to be around you. And you'll notice those are the people that you call into your life, is the people who don't like to be around you, or the people who don't value your opinion, or the people who don't think you're worth anything. So that's what that's like, I keep getting pulled to that. And I just feel like the affirmations really help you. And then it's not about, and you sort of feel good after listening to those actually, but then it doesn't become about when's everything coming. It's just sort of shifting your own mindset. And try not to get caught up in, I know that's really hard, but try not to get caught up in that, is it now? Is it now? Is it now? Because you can end up sort of holding it at bay, instead of being okay with knowing that it's coming, and it's coming at the perfect divine timing, and then everything falls into place perfectly. Closer to your life partner. I think I might have said this before, and I don't know, but it feels like when you get that job, whatever that job is sort of when the partner comes in. There's a connection there. But I'm like, but it's so whatever that job is, it feels like it may be just close in, not proximity, but close to what you're doing now, meaning a similar position. Okay. I feel like saying, can I leave you with that? But it'll take a minute for you to decide. Does that make sense when I say that to you? Please don't be disappointed, Devery. I know. Hi, Earth Angel. I'm not doing free readings anymore. I do charge a $5 per question. And tonight it's 100% goes to charity. It's going to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. And then after tonight, I'm going to go back to the 30%. I find I feel more fulfilled when I can help people. Starry Sky, you're up. Emily Martins has 2, Dulcie, and Emily F. If you guys want to ask your questions. I'll check. PayPal, we're waiting. Hey, hit the like button. There's 18 of you here, and there's only 10 likes. So hit that. Hi, Starry Sky. And subscribe to my channel. Tell people about me. That is how I get all of my clients when I do private readings, is through word of mouth. I don't advertise anywhere. I don't do a whole lot of fairs. I did do a couple fairs out in Long Island, and I do fairs for my church, but otherwise I'm not really out and about. We don't do them right now, obviously, because of COVID, but okay, so Miriam has 1 question, Christy has 2, and Shaheen has another one. Okay, Shaheen wanted a second question. And then I'm gonna, let me see, I might close the list just because it's I'm babbling and it could be a long night if not. Okay, Emily, you just want a general. Starry Sky, will my left eye and right knee improve? Okay. Yeah, your left eye is definitely going to improve. I just feel like it's, when they say that some people after the surgery, it takes like Some people are on the longer end, and I feel like you're on the longer end to heal. It's just a slower process. I feel like it was actually a more involved surgery than they expected. Um, again, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus that I know and love, but a dear person to me had cataract surgery on both of her eyes. And one of her eyes, they said like he had to really like either, I don't know, suck hard or like whatever it was to like, because it was like really, the cataract was really in there in the lens. And so it feels like that, like it was a little bit more. And so it feels like I keep hearing 6 months, and I don't know if it's 6 months from now or 6 months from the surgery, but it just feels like it's on the longer end of the recovery time, but not to worry that it will come back and be okay. You had a retinal detachment, I think I recall. And it feels like you may require, like if I was wearing bifocals before, I need trifocals, but whatever it is, I need a different and additional kind of help. So I don't feel like it's going to go back to 2020 or it's going to go back to like whatever. But usually when someone has a retinal detachment, they're pretty nearsighted, extremely nearsighted as it is. And the shape of the eye changes. So I would say not as good as before, but pretty good as far as vision. Like tolerable from your point, but it just feels like it's going to take a little bit longer to heal. And your right knee. So I'm asking him what the issue is now. Like, what's the thing that's bothering you? And I feel like decreased range of motion, like maybe you're at 80, 85%. And it feels like actually it gets almost like arthritic-y when with weather, with the barometric pressure drop. Does that ring true? I usually ramble a little bit more, right? While I'm waiting for people to answer questions. What else can I ramble about? We saw, I don't know if anybody has Disney Plus. We saw that movie Soul last weekend over Christmas. So good. And it's like, it feels like what I feel like when I see people. Like when you have the lost souls of people who are like, how they get like this dark energy around them. Spot on. Okay. So with your knee, it feels like you'll get back to 95% for range of motion. And I sort of feel like you'll have the weather barometer. Like you'll know when it's going to rain and snow. But it feels like you'll get back to about 95% for range of motion. And again, it just feels like stretching. I feel like like when I'm doing this, it doesn't feel like it's, I mean, obviously there's strength, but I just feel like I really like stretching and making sure you're doing stretches. Like if they give you stretches and they tell you to do them 2 times a day, do them 2 times a day. Like it'll get you through it. And again, that feels like honestly by October, November, you'll start to kind of, it's almost like you stop noticing the mobility issues and the range of motion. I don't feel like there's any scar tissue issues or anything like that. Sorry, I was sending you some energy to your knee. I don't feel like there's any scar tissue issues. It just, again, it just feels like tight muscles. Like if they would, once the PT releases you to do like maybe some yoga, some gentle yoga on your own, I would highly recommend it. And just do like, because it feels like it, not in my quad, but it feels like in my hamstring is tight and my calves are tight. Okay. So Emily, you just want a general reading? You have 2 questions. You're welcome, Starry Sky. Keep me posted. I always like validations, and it makes me feel a little less out there. All right, Emily. Have you been having dizziness lately? What's that? I don't know if it's an 80s or 90s song. Round and round we go. Can't sing. You know I can. But okay, sorry, just reading your little note. And then I felt dizzy. So the song to me, but nausea. Okay, because I'm like, oh, I felt like that. Have you peed on a stick lately? And I'm very serious. I just feel like that might be what's going on. Um, so I actually think what the last one is what they call in layman's terms a chemical pregnancy. It's not really a chemical pregnancy, it's just a blighted ovum. Um, um, okay, Allie, you're the very last one, and then I'm closing the list. I feel like it's close. Maybe that's what the round and round is if you had 2 of them. Did you recently pee on a stick, like this morning? I would retest. Maybe we can give it a week and retest. That's what I would say. I can't. That's what I keep feeling like. I don't feel anything different than that. Is there a way for your husband to get a promotion for what he does? Because I just felt like you're doing okay, and I don't feel like you're going back to work right away. And I feel like he actually might get a promotion. Sorry, popping my knuckles. My chiropractor says it's great when I pop my neck and my mouth. As you're all going. Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna leave you with that. Yeah, but I that's actually what's coming. Like I wish that I could get past that, but that's like what's coming up to the forefront for you. Okay. Are you okay with that, Emily? Or did you want something different? Or something more specific? If not, Dulcie, Emily F, Tiffany Grant. Emily F, you have 2 questions. KK's the best. Oh, that's right. Sorry. I don't think you put it in your payment that you're Dulcie or your, I don't know, whatever. Okay, Laura. Okay, so I feel like yes, you will, but it's not as much as you want, and I feel like it's more towards September.
And it literally feels like finally being fed up and like being okay with putting myself out there to like go apply for stuff and not worry about if my current job finds out. Um, this is sort of weird, but did you just get did you either just get a nail in a tire or get a tire changed? Because it's that feeling of, and they're showing me actually, they're saying like the back left, or the rear left tire. Random. Yes to the tire. Okay, so that me getting that super, super random detail is validation for the job stuff. And Georgia Peach, the list is closed. I don't want to be here all night. I need to get a good night's sleep. But I am back every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in this very channel. I don't go anywhere else. And I'll have my plants and my chair, and I'll be here. And probably a different shirt. But come back. So, very well, Laura or Miss Dulcie. Emily F, did you type yours? Yes, you did. This is Emily F. My date went really well. Yay! I was just wondering if there's any forecast for the next one. Do you mind giving me the name of your date? Just the first name. I don't need a last name. Thank you, Laura. So tell people about me. Subscribe, like, tell people about me. Write it in the sky. I don't know. But that's how I get my clients. Literally, I manifest it that way too, that whenever I give a private reading, my clients always go tell everybody they know about me. That is how people find me, because that's how I tell people to get readings from somebody, so that they know that they are legit and not just taking their money or making them feel, telling them what they want to hear. Many blessings to you. May you have an abundance of everything good in 2021. And that's for everybody. His name is Andrew. Okay. Do his friends from like growing up call him Drew? Did that ever get covered? I feel like he's going to contact you like this week for a date. He really had a nice time. He really likes you. Can't get that stupid song out of my head. Yeah, they call him Drew. Okay, because I heard Drew. Okay, so that's just validation. So just sit back, enjoy it, and let him call you. Don't panic. Don't worry. Don't wonder. Just do what you got to do. Keep yourself busy, and know that he's going to call you. And say that, I know he's going to call me. I know I'm going on another date. That's manifesting. But that way you don't get in that mindset. But yeah, I do feel like he will call you this week. Or text. I don't know. This is like the age of people always texting for dates instead of phone calls. I think phone calls are nice. Although I can't really have a phone call, let's be honest, with 3 small children. It's like I have to hide either in the bathroom. I have to like run down to the basement and hide. It feels soulmatey. I don't believe in soulmates. I believe that there are many people who can fill a partnership for you and fulfill whatever lessons you need to learn and like kind of things you got to work out. It feels like a really good match. That's what I will say. I feel like it feels like a really strong, good match. I do believe that you can have stronger connections with certain souls, and you have soul families. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll change my mind, but I always leave myself open to that. I've changed my mind about time travel. I used to think that it was possible, and then I really started thinking about it in quantum physics and the multiverse theory, and like more of my experiences that kind of line up more with the multiverse theory. And I thought, well, time travel just seems sort of pointless. But I think people have mastered how to do astral travel better and remote viewing. And that's a different thing, because I actually had somebody show up who I think was astral traveling or remote viewing when I was breastfeeding one of my daughters when she was really little. Because I saw, and it's a long story, but I actually think there was it anyway, whatever. I'll talk about it some other time. Anyway, whatever. So yeah. Okay, Allie, I'll check in just a minute. So yay for you, Emily. Do you have another question? Do you know that song, Love is in the Air? It's like a disco-y song. I think because I heard that, that's a pretty good sign right there too. Any general messages for me? Would it be really crappy for me to say no? You're doing really great. What do you need a message for? Like everything you've wanted and everything you've sort of, I don't feel like you have like a manifesting thing. I actually feel like you have a vision board. Does that make sense? I always say, does that make sense? As if you don't understand what I'm saying. What I really mean is, can you validate that? Does that ring true to you? I feel like a cartoon sometimes when I just start like giving you the eyes. You don't have a vision board. It just feels like more, okay, so this is like, to me, when I think of vision board, I think of somebody who hasn't quite graduated up to doing like the full on manifesting thing, who's still sort of kind of novice, a little bit of a novice with doing all of that. So it's like the idea, like I put it all out there, but I wasn't really sure what I was doing. It just feels like everything's sort of falling into place. You don't always know what you want. Okay. Your guides are funny. They go, well, just think of what you don't want and do the opposite. Like ask for the opposite. So vision board is a challenge for you. Well, a vision board is a challenge for me because I'm like, well, I don't get magazines anymore. So where am I going to get all this? And then they have like you have all the apps and stuff you can do, but I'm like, I sort of like pen and paper. I actually have a weird love for stationery and pens, and like I really like Staples and stores like that. And I passed it on to one of my daughters, which is really unfortunate that we both have this dorky love for pens and stationery. But I think I just really like pen to paper and kind of doing that stuff. So that's where like writing the affirmations and stuff helps for me. I know. Listen, I'm a ball of fun, y'all. Take me out on a Saturday night. Where do you want to go? Staples. So I get that where the vision board can be tough. Plus, I'm also like, if you make a vision board, I did one once, and it was like, it's a huge piece of poster board is what I did. I'm like, what do we do with this now? Like, I can't leave this out. Like, because also I talk about like manifestations, like keep them close to your heart. Don't tell anybody about them, because you don't want somebody else's inability to see the possibility to seep in, that doubt to seep in for you. So I like writing the affirmations and stuff like that. That's just for me, but it's like really sort of like, do your research, find who sort of resonates with you, what they're teaching, and don't feel like one person is the end all be all or one person knows it all. I cherry pick, quite frankly, all those things that the Christians used to tell me, you can't cherry pick the Bible. I'm like, the hell you can't. Cherry pick, find what works for you. Your soul will tell you what sort of resonates with what you need to do. But you're doing so well. I keep getting pulled to February for you. It feels like you'll be more solidified in February. You'll sort of have a better, I actually feel like you might be in a committed relationship by February. Don't go crazy and be like, my psychic said. Just like enjoy it, have fun, watch the sparks fly. But I feel like by February you'll be committed to each other. Not like married, but just like not seeing anybody else.
All right, so I've got Tiffany Grant, Regine, Linda Drost, Danny 333. You guys are up. I know. Exclusive. I guess that's the term. I don't know. Hello, Miss Tiffany. Paw. That's a Southern thing. Me, mom, pawpaw. So I see a gentleman who feels taller, and like a big smile and like showing me like sparkly eyes. Does that resonate with you? Tall, not short. He's a tall guy. And I feel like he'd like to laugh. You're welcome, Emily. Congratulations. Tall. There's a laughter and a big smile. And like literally showing me a twinkle in his eye. You didn't get to be around him a whole lot. He's one of those ones who doesn't want to talk about how he died. It's that feeling of, I do feel like it was sudden. It was a heart attack, but he's not making me feel like, it feels like, yeah, something like the most I had was maybe some reflux and then sudden. It feels sudden. It doesn't feel like I was sick for a long time and then. He had kidney failure? Why is he making me feel like quick? And then like this refluxy feeling. Marsha, the list was closed. Miss KK put underneath the names. He was on dialysis for years. I feel like, I don't know if his kidneys, I know you said kidney failure, but are you sure? I don't know if you can validate something with his heart. If it was an. Marsha, I'm going to refund your money because the list is closed. I don't mean to be a stinker, but if I don't say no at some point, then I'm never going to get out of here tonight. And it's already 9:30. So please, 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 please come back next week. Thank you for understanding. I really appreciate it. This is the part where I'd go, can you just show me a picture? That's one thing that's a little harder. Okay. Come on, Papa. Do you have like a medal of his? Or a cross, but I don't feel like I have the chain, so it feels short to me. Because I feel like okay with how he died. Unfortunate that he was so young, but it's not like it's that curiosity of wanting to talk to him more than anything, rather than that great loss. Not that it's not a great loss, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Or okay, but the medal or the cross, can you validate that? Because I'm just asking him, like, what do you want? It's like, what do you want her to know to validate? Is it a cross or something? Because it's something metal, jewelry, whatever, but it just feels like I don't, maybe I have a cross, but I don't have the chain. Is this mom's dad? Because I keep feeling like she has something, or she's, I don't know, she's going to give you something, or there's something that she has of his, or you have it, but somehow it's going to become yours if you don't have it now. Ask her about it. I don't know if he would joke with her about this, but I feel like he blames his belly on her because she's a mean cook, he said. Okay, you just validate it for me. I don't have anything of his, but she recently gave you a necklace he made for her. That's it. That's what it is. Okay? But he's blaming her for his weight because she's a really good cook and he just couldn't help himself. Did he call you baby girl or sweet girl? Like, I mean, it just feels like, and I feel like, and he kissed you on the forehead and he's okay. I hope she's a good cook. I'm guessing she's a good cook, yeah. Because he said that, but not because, taste is relative. But that's really all he's trying to say. He's around. You don't remember what he called you. Okay. It might come back to you. He feels like he was a good man, and I'm sorry you had a short time with him, but you had a really good grandpa. I'm going to leave you with that and keep moving. He is around her. But honestly, I don't know that I feel like sometimes she senses him, but I don't know how spiritually in tune she is. So I don't know how much she notices them being there. He just pops in and out. I feel like he's not one to just hang around and wait. He's got other stuff to do, it feels like. Like fishing. I kept feeling like fishing on the other side. I'm fishing on the other side. Regine, good timing. So I'm going to leave you with that. Okay, Tiffany? She is religious, but as I say, oftentimes religion is practiced from a fear-based position rather than a spiritual connection. You're very welcome, Tiffany. I hope that was helpful. Regine, where and when do you see me attending school for healthcare administration? I actually, when I first went to school, I started in nursing school, and then I changed over to healthcare administration because I didn't want to study quite as much. And I was a semester out from doing my year-long internship. And then I went to get my associate's degree in nursing at a different school. I realized that, well, I heard a voice outside my head that said, you're going to go do this. So I was like, okay. Apparently I wasn't meant to run nursing homes and get my master's degree and then work in hospitals and as an administrator. And I probably would have hated it because, quite frankly, I hate hearing about people's problems. I mean, I like hearing about them this way, but I don't want to deal with scheduling and why someone's late to work all the time. Okay, so healthcare administration. You're not sure where to start telling me the truth. What do you mean? Like you don't want to give me too much information? You'll intuitively know when to stop. Are you in the Midwest by chance? Can I just ask that? Can you tell me, can you validate if you're in the Midwest or not? Because I keep seeing that, but I don't know if I'm seeing it because of my relation to the healthcare administration or since I went to high school and college in Wisconsin. So I keep like getting pulled there, but I actually keep getting pulled more to Minnesota. You're in Florida. Well, are you planning on moving? Minnesota winters are awful. Are you planning on moving? Very serious question though. I actually don't feel like you're going to be going to school in Florida. So maybe you're doing an online course where you're hooked up with a school in the Midwest. I actually could see that being what you're doing is working on your degree through an online program because I don't feel Florida. Even when you say that, I'm like, no, I don't feel like I'm in school there. I actually feel like so either a UW through the UW system or the University of Minnesota system. So look into that. I don't know if they have programs, but that's what I feel like is doing the online. And I actually feel like that works better with your life and your schedule and everything that's going on. I keep getting January. I don't think it's January of this year. I feel like it'll be January of next year. When you finally it feels like I spend a lot of time hemming and hawing about it and then getting all of my transcripts and stuff together. And it just works out better then versus doing it this year. Does that resonate with you, the time-wise? Linda Drost, Danny 333, Shaheen, if you guys can kind of start typing your questions, I would really appreciate it. Perfect. Happy New Year. You're welcome, Regine. Linda, I struggle with weight and have had lasting success with weight loss. Is there a specific approach I should? Yes. I don't know if this is, but I literally get that it's like a lot of mindset stuff. I'm going to just, if this is really loud, please let me know. I'm turning on my heater and it seems to not matter if I keep it on high or low. It's just loud. I'm rather cold. So this is like a mindset thing. This isn't necessarily a psychic thing, but I actually feel like it's your mindset, like an ability to see it. And because I feel like you know what you need to do, that you know, like balance and all of that stuff. But I feel like it'll sound really silly, but it's, they've done the scientific studies. I talk about this all the time with plants, that if you talk to plants nicely, that they grow really well. And if you play like orchestra music or classical music, that they grow really well and, all of that. And I send my plants energy. I'm hoping that this will help it. We all know my struggle with plants and I'm trying not to be a struggler with plants. But your body and your cells are just the same thing. And they've done this in quantum physics and they talk about the string theory and that those are the smallest parts of your cells and that they respond to positive energy and to kind words. And so, look at your body, think about it as all of the cells are, they make up. If you think of a cell as an individual person, it makes up an entire world, right? And this whole thing carries your soul through your experience here. And instead of beating it up for not being perfect, celebrate it for getting you through it. And all of those parts were there for a reason. So all of the fat and the extra weight, that's there for a reason and it's helped you through it and you no longer need it. And so you're going to ask it to become fuel and energy for you to build your muscles. And then really and truly, this is something I have to do because I will tiny little bite myself to death to eating more than I need to, is I have to count my macros.
So get on a macros app and count what you're eating and weigh your food and measure it and count it. And it'll tell you like based on your body weight. And they have free apps out there based on your body weight, based on your height and what you want to do. And don't be unrealistic. So don't think I'm going to lose it in 3 days because you didn't gain it in 3 days. And I say this so when I worked as a postpartum nurse, be patient and be kind to your body. Your body has done a beautiful thing. It's gotten your soul to this point. So it's like really a mindset thing for you. Stop beating yourself up. Be gentler, be kinder how you speak to yourself. Work on healing some of those. It feels like a lot of self-doubt, not just with weight, but with your own self-esteem. So I'm asking about your solar plexus chakra. And it feels like wanting to hide away from the world and sort of not really wanting to be seen. And the weight sort of feels just like a physical manifestation of this. And they said you deserve to be seen. You're beautiful. Was mom real critical of you as a child? Because it feels like mom was real critical of you as a child. And not making you feel like you measured up, like couldn't quite do anything right. Good night, Lisa. Happy New Year. Grandma. Okay. Well, can I be like real frank? I mean, fuck her, because who was she anyway, right? I mean, she wasn't perfect. I feel like when a lot of people at the beginning of this, and I don't know if you were here for this, but I talked about not wanting to throw somebody under the bus, but raised mainly by grandma. So then that becomes like the mother figure for you. And that's the person who becomes that for you. Like the person who said something that was really horrible to me, they're not a really happy person, and they're really insecure and a host of other things. So it's sort of like take it with a grain of salt, but still like there's a level of like boundaries and just like not wanting to tolerate behavior. So have boundaries with yourself too. If you wouldn't say those things to somebody else, don't say them to yourself. And do some visualization where you're releasing that criticism and talk to your little inner you, that those things that she's saying aren't true. Like you as an adult, if you were approached a child that was dealing with that, what would you say? And say that to yourself. Visualize yourself at that age and say that to yourself. She feels kind of mean, just like not a happy bone in her body. Oh, Hurricane Tortilla, I'm not taking any new questions tonight. The list is closed. But if you come back next week at 8:30, if you make a donation, I start a list. And then you ask your question when your name comes up. Well, I just feel not very happy. You're welcome. So for you, it just feels like really kind of getting a hold of that, the self-confidence and that, and being gentler and kinder with yourself rather than you need to go do paleo. And also like, I know a lot of people are like paleo and keto and all of that. I'm sort of the mindset of balance. Your body will tell you what it needs and what
what works for it. So if you eat wheat and you notice you become really bloated and you feel like you're retaining water and stuff, that's probably not your best thing. I would say stay away from like any processed sugars and soy, because that will help you eliminate a lot of foods that are keeping you from losing weight. But other than that, I don't think like eating super heavy protein works for everybody. And I don't think that being super, super regimented works for everybody, because honestly, I don't know many people who can maintain paleo or keto. And a ketogenic diet is similar to like a diabetic exchange diet. That's what we did for our diabetics. It was kind of like that, but it's just not maintainable for a lot of people. So I just say eat balance, like, and for you, while you're going through the weight loss part, it feels like do the macro counting, which macros are your fats, your proteins, and your carbs. So you're gonna like, and a lot of them have like huge lists of foods that are already plugged in or whatever. So it'll tell you what you need, and you sort of stay within that. And you want to eat a little bit of fat, a little bit of protein, and a little bit of carb with each meal, for your body needs that. But then you can eat many meals throughout the day, or you can do 3, whatever works for you. I don't think that there's this is the right way. I think everybody tells you that. And I think it's your body will intuitively tell you the right way to eat within those bounds. And then I feel like it'll be like you can kind of come back off of it. And if you notice you're gaining a little bit of weight, then you go back on it. But be gentle, be kind, pay attention. Your hormones will change things too. My weight kind of goes like this throughout the month. It doesn't stay flat. I'm not a man. I have estrogen and progesterone that change the way I hold on to water and stuff throughout the month. So that is what it is. And I'm sort of gentle with myself about it. I'm not, don't beat yourself up. Feeling about intermittent fasting. I used to think it was the thing, and now I don't. I do finish eating by about 8 o'clock at night, 7, 8 o'clock at night, because I don't want to have a lot of food in my gut when I sleep, and I don't like to feel super, super full when I go to bed. And I eat when I get up in the morning before I work out. I have a little something. And only certain days will I fast before I work out, but that's pretty rare. But I don't, I mean, if you consider fasting from 8 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock in the morning, or 7 o'clock in the morning, or actually like 6 o'clock in the morning, then yeah, I guess I fast, but I sort of think like, you just don't think of it as fasting. But no, I think that can, I think your body needs fuel. And I think your brain needs fuel, and and like when people say no, your brain needs glucose. That's its energy source. So and you shouldn't get it from cookies and candy, but I think it's okay to have fruit and vegetables and natural things. But I'm not a big fan of intermittent fasting. That's just me. I think anything that's extreme, I used to think it worked, but I like realized that it really doesn't. And I've actually been much more successful by eating throughout the day. And I stop eating about 8 o'clock at night. I don't beat myself up if I eat later, but for the most part, I stop eating about 8 o'clock at night. I brush my teeth and I'm done. Because I'm too lazy to rebrush my teeth. So by the time I'm on here, I'm done. I'm done for the night, and I go upstairs and I just have water for the rest of the night. But I think you'll be successful. I just think reprogram. So I like, and I've said this before, Roxy Talks. I like her affirmations. I like the affirmations a lot. So I'll leave you with that. Shaheen, did you write your question? I've got Shaheen, Sonia Rain Lee, Meg Daly, Miriam, Christy, and Allie. Oh, Danny. You asked about your mediumship and why you lost it. And they don't make me feel like you've actually lost it. It makes me feel like, one, they said wanting it too much. And two, it feels like they're quieting down because they're going to open you up for
more growth in your intuition connection. And understand this idea that somebody says, I think the reason why I say psychic medium is because it's something that other people have put into a frame of reference, but really there is no difference in reading the energy. When people are like, oh, I'm a pet psychic or I'm in this, it's all energy. It doesn't matter. Plants, pets, the energy of your home, a loved one who's crossed over, a guide. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing. But I actually feel like there's a refinement that's coming for you. And it actually feels like rather than your clairaudience, it's going to be your clairvoyance that opens up more. But it hasn't gone away. It's just an adjustment. And I think it's also you starting to learn that idea that there is no difference. Are you still here, Danny 333? Am I rambling? Do you hear me? You're welcome, Linda. Shaheen, Sonia Rain Lee, Meg Daly, Miriam, Christy, Ali. Okay, so does that resonate with you when I say that? I hope it does. 3 weeks, I feel like you'll have a jump. 6 weeks, then 9 months. But I don't feel like you've lost it. It's just a shift. Why did it stop? It's just about you opening up and sort of having, when you have this idea that it is only one thing, that it's all compartmentalized, your intuition to this, and this, instead of realizing it's all of this, they sort of shut stuff down here and there, and then they open them back up. It just happens that way. I can't tell you why. I've had moments where it's been quieter, and I'm like, and then you're welcome, Danny. You haven't lost it. It's just sort of, again, it's just it's a huge mindset thing. It's also, they said to me, because I'm like, it's sometimes part of it is about wanting it too much, but they also said expectations of how they're communicating with you. So they're doing it in more subtle ways because they are trying to refine for you. So pay attention to the subtlety, because it's not like I hear them outside. I mean, I don't hear this loud booming over a speaker voice. There's a lot of subtle things that kind of come through, and I just have to be open to the subtle stuff. Ali wants to know, Ali, I'm going to hold on to yours in just a minute because you're a little bit further down the list. Miriam, you are too. Shaheen, Sonia Rain Lee, are you here? Are you here? You're welcome. There you are. Can you ask your question, please? And Shaheen, if you're here, please ask your questions. You have 2 of them. Should have brought my lip stuff down here. Not that you guys want to watch me put on something for chapped lips. There you are. I'm visiting out of town and was supposed to see a friend of mine, wondering if he's intentionally avoiding me or if I'll get to see him before I leave in a couple of days. His name is Jonathan. I immediately got, yes, but more out of like immaturity, like sort of being disrespectful for your time, like I feel like he's always lived there. And not recognizing that like it's limited and sort of finding other things to keep himself busy. Is he also like, the other feeling I get too is there's like this other side of being like pretty anxiety ridden. And I don't want to say fearful, but a bit concerned about the fact that you're coming from out of town. And so doesn't want to sound like he's scared of getting sick, but just feels like that's the other side of it. Like not being respectful enough to kind of talk to you about that. So he doesn't feel, feels a little insecure about that. Does that resonate with you, of him being a little bit anxiety ridden? Don't retract your message, Miriam. I was going to get to it. I just wanted to scroll. I was just explaining to you why I wasn't getting to it right away. Excuse me. Can you validate that, Shaheen? I'm sorry, Sonia Rain Lee, can you validate that? That may be what you think. I actually think there's something else going on there that's more about having. Can you just validate, does he have a history of anxiety? Because I feel like it's more, I'm leaning more towards this. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm leaning more towards it actually being like anxiety ridden about the fact that we're in a pandemic. That might be your thinking. I actually feel like it's not really about that. I feel like it's like we're in a pandemic and he is very anxiety ridden about being exposed to too many people. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you've seen him on social media with 1 million people, blah, blah, blah. But I actually feel like he's been much more secluded than he's willing to say. Okay. Can you validate, has he posted lots of pictures with other people and being out and about, or has he seemed like he's like me and I go to the grocery store and all that, but that's about it? Right. Here's the thing about the COVID test. And someone probably explained this to him. And I'm sorry if somebody didn't explain this to you. Just because you're negative today, you could still be in the early period of the stretch of day 1 to day 5, 6-ish of exposure. And you may or may not test positive. You may test negative. And then at day 6, you test positive. So even if you tested, like it's such a false sense of security. Unless you're testing regularly and you've quarantined for 2 weeks beforehand, that negative doesn't really mean that much. And I hate to be like so, but that's how I feel. And that's what science tells us. That's why they say to quarantine and do like a little pod thing, and then you could see each other. I actually feel like I don't feel like it's an emotional thing. I feel like it's a not being respectful enough of your time and respectful enough of your emotions and your feelings. But I feel like I feel like it's actually more of a related to that, to COVID stuff. I don't feel like it's about not wanting to get emotionally involved with you. And I actually feel like the way that I'm getting it is actually more positive than the way you're trying to spin it about emotions and not wanting to get involved. I actually feel like it's like, hey, I have anxiety about getting COVID and I'm not really out there that much. And maybe I don't have the cojones to tell you that, or I don't have the respect enough to tell you that because I'm a little insecure, but that's sort of what I feel like it is. Hi, Adriana. I don't know why I just said it with a Spanish accent, but there you go. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that, Sonia. Shaheen, are you here? Are you here? Meg Daly, I'm going to go ahead and hopefully Shaheen shows up. If not, I'm going to give her money back. Meg Daly. Is there anything your guides can share with you? They can share a lot with you. Is there anything specific you want to know? Oh my God, let's try this again. Okay. Oh. You are Spanish. Okay, good.
Okay, Meg. So I feel like you're doing well and you're moving in the right direction, but they're sort of talking about you working on your own intuition development. And I felt like really tight in my head. Like if you think about where a jar is really hard to open and then it opens, or when you're starting to unscrew, like if you have something that's bolted on and been bolted on for a long time, at first it's really, really hard to move it. And then it starts moving a little bit quicker, right? But the initial loosening of it's a little bit tougher. And it just feels like that's sort of what's going on. I don't know if you've been having some, because I felt a little bit of slight headaches across here. And I actually feel like that's the third eye opening up. And they're sort of talking about working on meditation and having visions when you meditate, and that it's like feels like a little bit of a struggle. Does that make sense, or can you validate that? You're welcome, Sonia Rainley. So if let's see, Miriam, did you type yours, or yeah, there you go. Do you see positive career change for me this year? Can you provide a timeline if possible? You're welcome. Shaheen, are you here? Are you here? I'm going to keep calling your name. I will refund your money if you don't respond. Meg Daly, can you validate any of that? Christy, did you ask your questions? You did. Did you leave it for me? Any messages or validations? And Allie, did you leave yours up there for me too? Yeah. Okay. Relationship. Okay, sounds good, KK. Meg, can you validate that? Are you cutting in and out? Okay, so I'm going to work on somebody else until I can get you to validate any of that stuff for me. Miriam, positive job change this year? If so, timeline. Do you do something where, like contract work, where I might have a contract for 6 or 9 months and then be done and then not know what comes after that? Because I keep seeing like doing great and like where I'm at through September, and then like a drop off, like there's not something afterwards. And I don't know that it's a bad thing. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting fired or the company falls apart. I'm like, well, considering going back to school, and I don't feel drawn to that either. But you currently have a job, because I don't feel like I have no income. Like, even though you say you want something stable, I feel like I have an income. You're going back to school? Would you be going back to school in September and perhaps not working in September? And that would be why it drops off?
I have no idea what FFG or SLPA is. Physician's assistant? You're currently working. Okay. Because I don't feel like I don't have a job. So it may be that my financial aid or whatever comes through that I don't necessarily have to work initially when I get there, and that's why I feel the drop off. I'm actually speech language pathology. Is that what that is? Yeah. Sorry, I just saw that. I'm leaning more towards that than the FFG. But I actually feel like if you become the assistant, you're going to actually continue to go to school after that. Like you're going to keep growing and building on what you're doing. Like you're not going to want to stop your education there. Oh, you're doing both. What is FFG? You just want to be in a positive mind. I don't feel like you're leaving your job until you're going to school. So do you start school in September? And I know that sounds like a really long time, but I feel like you can gut it out and be okay in it. I've worked jobs like that really suck. As a nurse, I worked some really, like as a traveler, worked in some really crappy positions. And you find ways to make it work. And I wanted to stay in New York. And so I needed a job to do that. And I didn't want to work for any hot facility permanently. And that's a whole other story. What is the change in September? So maybe it's that would you finish school by September and be able to start permanently? And that's why I don't see like it feels like a drop off and feels like change. I don't know any other way to interpret this except to tell you exactly the way I'm getting it. Unfortunately, I don't want what I'm getting to necessarily fit for what you're saying. Like I'm not trying to puzzle piece it in and grind the corners down, but it's just, this is what I'm getting. So I'm trying to see if it makes sense. Like, would you be done with school in September? Because that might be what it is. I don't know. It just feels like I'm okay until September and then it drops off. So it may be a change of that job that you don't like, the toxic one, would be done in September. There's something about September. So maybe you don't find that. So if you're done in the spring, which we'll say done by May, right? Maybe you don't find a position until September and then you're done with whatever you're doing right now. And that's where the change comes in. But I also feel like you're not done with school. I feel like you'll keep going. Wait, you're confusing me. Okay, so you're done with prereqs, not with the actual schooling. And so you'll get in, and then, so you're done with your job in September, you start the main program. That's what I think happens. That's how it fits. That's how we piece it together. So Meg, I just feel like, don't have expectations. I'm just going to go back and answer Meg's. Okay. So that's what that is. So it's not about, that is job positivity, but it's not necessarily the way that you expect it or want it. It's moving you in the direction of getting that job that you want. So I feel like you're not going to be working where you're at by September because you'll get into your program. And I feel like you'll actually be very concentrated and therefore working as like maybe get a part-time job somewhere, if anything, but you'll be fine for money because I feel like either student loans or something like that kind of falls into place for you as you're going to school. But I don't think you'll be where you're at by September. I'm leaving you with that. Sorry. It's like drawing it out. I saw you, Meg. Okay. So, Miriam. Okay, Meg.
So what I feel like they're sort of talking about is like, stop having expectations of what it is and how it is you're supposed to see, and stop trying to force it and just allow it. Kind of like with Yoda and the Force. When you try and make it work and expect it to be a certain way just because somebody else has it happen a certain way, relax about it. The other thing is, do guided meditations over trying to be quiet and listen to something and see what happens. And also look for group meditations online. There's lots of people who lead meditations who will do a group meditation over Zoom. That collective energy can really shoot you into another place. The other thing is, when you do a guided meditation, if you start to float off into a different direction, like they say, we're walking by the sea and it's light and airy, and you all of a sudden are in a field of flowers and trees, go to the field and flowers and trees. Don't worry about what they're doing. Don't try and fight it and go, I'm not doing it right. You're doing what you need to do, and you'll come back when you're supposed to come back. So just like go with the flow, relax about it, and don't force it. I'm going to leave you with that. Christy, Shaheen, Ali, you guys are up. You're welcome, Miriam. Christy, Shaheen, Ali, you guys are up. Oh, I have your questions already, Christy and Ali. But Shaheen, if you're here, maybe you fell asleep. Christy wants to know a general or validation. Ali wants to know about relationship. Okay, gotcha. I gotcha. The biggest thing for you, Ali, that I keep feeling like is like a solar plexus chakra, which is your gut, how you relate to the world, how the world relates to you, and self-esteem. And it just feels self-esteem. It feels like, and like sort of manifesting it. So like, but unknowingly and not intentionally. And we all do this. And I told you a story at the very beginning of how I unintentionally manifested this awful comment. Because I'm not kind enough to myself. So it's sort of like, I've said this with other people, do the affirmations, listen to the affirmations, write them down. And there's, I like Roxy Talks. She's got, but I like the ones where she has some where she says it in second person, you do this, you do that, you are great, you are wonderful. But I like the ones where she speaks in first person because I feel like it roots in a little bit better. Building your self-confidence is huge because energetically it's sort of putting out there. I also feel like you're not, it's the self-esteem and like feeling like not worthy of that relationship and connecting with someone. And what if I don't? And what if they don't like me? And what if I'm not enough? And what if I'm not this or that? And it sort of just needs to like be reprogrammed. When you work on yourself, look, it's not that you aren't lovable or perfectly, like when people are like, oh, if you don't love yourself, nobody will ever love you. That's not true. You'll find someone to connect with regardless of where you're at. It's just that if you love yourself, you'll connect with somebody that's even better, somebody that values you too. When you value yourself, that person will value you and respect you just like you respect and value yourself. So it just feels like rebuilding that and reprogramming that belief system that you've sort of been programmed with initially. Okay. You'll get there. And when you feel like I'm never going to get there, then you're never going to get there. So I'm a work in progress. I'm doing really great. I've come so far already. Look how much I've grown. Look how much I've healed. So instead of looking at what you're lacking, look at how far you've come and how much you've healed. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference to look at it with that perspective rather than what you haven't done. And it takes time to reprogram sometimes. And
there's still things that I'm figuring out where I'm like, oh, that's why that happened. Oh, like, boy, what an old, like, that's why I attracted that. That's why I attracted that kind of person. That's why I did that, for whatever it is. And it's like, oh, I started that like way long ago. Boy, that needs to be. When you start getting in the mindset and you're always working on manifestation and you're always sort of seeing it and make that a manifestation where I'm always conscious of what I'm thinking about. I'm always conscious of when something negative happens rather than seeing it as like, it didn't work, see it as like, oh, this is a sign from the universe of another area I need to heal and fix and reprogram. And that's great. Like, thank goodness that I'm aware of it, that's how it works, rather than thinking like, oh, only bad things happen or I never make this work. Trying to figure out, I keep tasting a pastry and I'm trying to figure out who that's connected to or what that is. It's like very buttery. It takes time. Be patient with yourself. You didn't get these programs overnight. That didn't happen for any of us. It happened from like birth till about the age of 7 or 8. And then we have to kind of reprogram it. And then other things come along that like teach us like experiences that we keep calling in and reinforcing those things. Okay, Christy wants a general reading. Any suggestions for my guides for starting off my small business? The very first sentence I heard, Shaheen, was keep it simple. So it feels like I have a lot of ideas and I want to go a lot of directions, but it feels like keep it really simple and keep it really personal. And then you'll grow over time. So you'll add a service or add a product or whatever, but it says keep it as simple as possible initially. And then add or change as you go along. But it feels like I've got almost like a whole basket of stuff and I can't figure out, like, I'm so excited and have so many ideas and I just need to like, just pick one and go with that. Does that resonate when I say that? Keeping it simple. You're welcome, Meg. Does that resonate when I say about the keeping it simple? Yay, Meg. Okay, okay, yes, it does. Okay. And then your second question is, can my guides tell me how Chris is doing? So one of your guide goes, mind your beeswax. So I don't know why your guide is like that, but I thought it was funny. So it was literally like, he's fine, but none of your business anymore, meaning like move on, not to worry about it anymore. And I don't know what that means, but it's almost like he's putting a block up or a wall up and it doesn't want communication. Does that make sense when I say that? Has he blocked you or ended in all communication? Yeah. Okay. So just let it go. He's fine. And then let it go and be done with it. It's healthier for you when someone sets a boundary. Instead of being like, how can I break it? And how can I get into them? And I just really care about them. Send them love and energy. Trust that the universe will take care of it. And if they're meant to come back to you, they will. The door will open, but it doesn't serve you or your higher good to sit and worry about them and try and make it turn into something. It usually ends up being really, really toxic and a not healthy connection regardless. So plus you want somebody to respect your boundaries when you set them. Like if you were like, stop calling me, you would want somebody to respect that. And it's like sort of like how you want people to treat you, you need to treat others as well. Christy, I keep feeling like it's funny with, I know you do all the essential oil stuff and I felt like almost like bogged down and overwhelmed with them. But then they said, you need to sage your house. like the energy feels sludgy and tired. So it's like, I know it's really cold right now. So take it for what it is. But you're in Wisconsin, right? But it's like open the windows and sage and let some energy in. So on a day that's maybe warmer and balmy, 45, 50, open the windows a little bit and like get some fresh air in there and move the energy out. And I feel like you'll feel a lot better. I feel like why do I feel like you're going to be on the earlier end of getting a vaccine? It's going to be a bit warmer this week. Perfect. Like what, 55? I feel like you're going to be on the earlier end of the vaccine, and it just feels like there'll be the sense of relief and actually a release of like I don't feel like you have anxiety, but it just feels like seasonal affective disorder, not quite depression, being in education. So yeah, I feel like you're definitely going to be even on the earlier end. So beginning of March, you should have your first shot. Although, do you not want to punch the guy in the head, the pharmacist in Grafton? Like, what the fuck? Oh, he's probably a Trumper. Yeah. So, but I feel like you'll be on the earlier end. You may even have a call soon to make an appointment by February 1st, something with that. You have anxiety about it? Don't have anxiety about it. A good friend of mine, she took the Pfizer vaccine. She's a nurse out in Phoenix. And she posted some really, really lovely educational bits about it. And she said she was nervous about it too. And they're really spot on. I'm not nervous about it. I actually think that they're going to be shifting a lot of vaccines to be mRNA, yeah. Ones that we've traditionally given in other forms now, because they're going to be much more effective. But they've actually been researching these since SARS and everything came out. They just didn't have the funding. And I've said this on here a million times, right? Why were they able to get it so quickly? Funding, money, pouring money in. And it's so visible and so known that they had no problem signing people up. I've been saying this, and all of the facts that she posted ended up, not the vaccine, you're nervous about getting COVID. Okay. So I feel like you're going to get the vaccine and it's going to feel a lot better. And you're going to be able to have that release. So it feels like, it doesn't feel like full depression. Like it just feels like almost like seasonal affective. So once you get that, it feels like that relief feeling and being better and doing okay. Okay, good. I'm glad that you're not nervous. I mean, I can understand someone being concerned because it's new and all of that, but it's actually, they've been doing the research a lot longer than most people understand. So I'm going to leave you with that. Is that good? Are you okay, Christy? How do you see my psychic abilities developing over the, oh my God. Ha, ha, ha. I wrote, without even knowing your question, February upgrade. Like you're going to have a big in February, we're going to grow a lot. I feel like, and they're not really being specific about it. It just feels like an acceleration and upgrade. So you might get like the last 2 weeks of January where you start to feel like a lot of anxiety and a lot of like uncertainty about it. Don't panic that you think something's going to happen. It just feels like a shifting of the vibration. You'll settle into that and feel like more acclimated by the second or third week of February. Oh, I understand. My husband he works in the city, and they had someone in their office got sick, had COVID. And so they went back to shifting that, like less people in the office. So he's been doing like
kind of at home and at work, like working from home and working in the office. But I was like, see, I told you, all those people in there, I told you that was the worst idea. Because, well, I know for his sanity, it's good for him to go be around people. I mean, I'm around 3 little kids all day and don't have a lot of human contact other than that. And it's a lot. But some of us are more resilient than others anyhow. So I get it. I get like the nervousness because I was like really not happy about it. But luckily he did not have it. And therefore I didn't have it and the girls didn't have it. But I get it because it is sort of one of those Russian roulette, like healthy people are dying from it. And so when they say it's only people with underlying medical issues, the majority, yes, but there's also long-term side effects that some people are having. And, and it is affecting a lot of people, Black people and brown people with much more severe long-term effects and everything else. So I get it. I get being nervous. Don't beat yourself up. It happens. It's sort of like when you're in it for the long haul, sometimes you get exhausted and you let your guard down. So, but don't beat yourself up. It's just a reminder you're okay. So, all right, I'm going to say goodnight. It is super late and I know KK probably wants to go to bed or do something other than sit here. Thank you guys. I will let you know next week how much we earned. If you are on my email list, please subscribe. I should say this at the beginning. Subscribe to my email list. I send out reminders and also send out reminders since I don't have 1,000 people yet here. I can send out reminders there that if I decide to go do something later in the week and give you a little heads up. Otherwise, you're just surprised by a live. I try to give you a heads up with that, but sometimes it's just by the seat of my pants. I decide to do it. So have a wonderful week. Happiest New Year's to you. Thank you for all the love and support. Tell people about me, share away. I can't wait to be a part of their lives too. Have a great week. See you in a week. Bye.